right, here we are. Here we are. Hello. It is 10:55 a.m. I just downloaded my other stream so I could, wow, put it on YouTube later. But hello, y'all. I'm not even low energy. It's just whatever. Not to even start this shit off on a bad note or nothing, but I just think about how, just the fact that there are people who won't even listen to what I have to say just because of the color of my skin and also because of what gender I am. That shit blows me, and that's just so infuriating. Like, women have not been a part of many great things throughout history. It's just nobody really talks about it, and we didn't really learn about it. Like Amelia Earhart, like, just when I think about the woman that I learned about in school, is really not that many besides the usual Rosa Parks and Ruby Bridges and things like that. Like, first of all, Ruby Bridges, she was a child. She kind of almost had no choice. Like, she was just a part of the movement because she just wanted to get an education like every other child. So, so it's like, it just makes me irritated. Like, we got the same, like, our brains may be wired to be better at certain things than others, but it still has the same functions of understanding and rationality. Like, I don't understand. That's not even the point of why we're in this stream today. It's really no point because, I'm trying to go for the stream where I'm here for at least 2 hours today with y'all, because I really just want to play The Sims and I want to get to my family. But at the same time, I remember I talked about, like, not being lazy with how we take information and our with how we take information, also just how involved we are politically. I'm 26 years old, so oh, by the way, hello, Nakia Bella. This is going on my channel, Feel Intellectual, so boom 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 beep bop. Yeah, just not being lazy with how we take in our political shit and also what we do politically in our communities and outside of our communities. A thing that I was thinking about today before we really get started on this post I seen this morning, this community note was not there. This community note was not there at all. But we're going to get to Mr. Matt Forney. Apparently he's infamous for whatever bullshit he likes to spout on the internet. But yeah, this morning I was just thinking about, I was listening to this girl on a reality TV show that she was on Bad Girls Club, but she was on this other one on Ratchet TV, but she had an interview with someone and it was a cool interview, whatever. But when she started talking about why she wasn't going to be on the next season of some place, they were going to go to Africa. She said she had to get vaccinated for yellow fever in order to go there. Boom, right? So I should have saw it coming just with how black people are, but she proudly said she was an anti-vaxxer, that she didn't get the jab, and I'm like, you lost me. And it's not even she lost me, because it's one thing being skeptical, because we all should be skeptical of things, especially depending on what race you are. It's certain things in your history that will make you skeptical, but to the point where you're just absolutely not. Like, all right, bro, I kind of like, I'm not even say I was a fan. I just liked how she carried herself, but I'm realizing now that she's just like all the other black people that try to fake this spirituality. I'm not even going to say fake, because they really do probably are connected to that, but it's just some parts of their personalities that just don't mesh with that side to me. But I guess that's just really in my opinion and how I see it. In their reality, that's just how it is, and that works for them. In my reality, it's kind of like you going against what you should really be about. They claim to not, practice Christianity. They just go spiritual. But like I said on my other stream, they say that, but then still practice Christianity and still whatever. That's why I say I take from every religion, because every religion take from each other and from other pantheons and all this other, like, that's why I don't just stick with one. Oh, I say spirituality and I really mean it, like everything. Everything, because there's some things in the Bible where it's like, it's a good message there. And people say, oh, well, you like to pick and choose. Y'all like to pick and choose. But it is certain parts of the Bible where you can tell, like, that's just man-made for real. Like, really man-made for real. Like, God didn't say that. Jesus didn't say that. This is man-made for real. But apart from that, it just made me think, like, when it comes to this political stuff, black people like to, some black people, but a lot, I'm not going to lie, like to separate themselves from the political sphere because they feel everything is rigged and I mean, that was a whole thing in 2020. Everything is rigged, and that anything we do has no effect, and it is what it is. Oh my gosh, these spice. It is what it is. And that just causes us to stay where we are because everyone thinks no matter how hard you fight, it's just going to keep being shit. And it's like, so you're, if that was really true, none of the stuff that has happened throughout history would have happened. Any progress that has happened would have never happened if that was the case. And people can say, oh, well, it just got worse or da da da. They want y'all to be in these conspiracies where they want you to think that nothing matters. Absolutely nothing matters. It's been people protesting. And the only reason I've been seeing this is not only because I'm in the DMV and I'm in the area, I'm close to DC, is because I'm on those spaces where people post like, hey, this protest happened here. Hey, this protest happened here. Even if you see these protests as, oh, not doing anything, these people, I'm not even going to say 9 times out of 10, because some people will go to protest, but then not do anything else in their communities or towards like calling up representatives or things like that. And that is something I also have to get into. The most that I'm connected politically in my community is getting emails from our senator, Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen. I've been getting emails from him since I think it was during the terror situation when it started coming like really back to back his emails. Yeah, all that to say, like, they want you to think that nothing matters. And when people are telling you how to call y'all representatives and do all this and do all that, y'all want to give excuses like, oh, that don't do nothing and da da da. Like, I take older people's advice with a grain of salt. But when I used to work at the shoe department years ago, I think I was like 19. I was 19. I had a manager. And, we were talking lightly about political stuff because we were cool, black man. And he was like, you can feel how you want to feel about like our government, but locally this stuff matters. Like locally in your state government, these are the people that are really taking your taxes and really doing what they want to do with it. You have to be cognizant. You have to pay attention to your community, because the White House, our federal government, like, yes, pay attention and, vote how you want to vote with that. But locally, your state, that's where it really starts. Because if your state ain't good, then how you gonna, then at that point you get to the next level of, okay, what senator is in, or who was it that we vote for to be in the House of Representatives? Yeah, our state reps. Yeah, it goes, it's like a ladder. Like whoever you pick for our state is going up the chain. So if you're paying attention to your state, you're going to be paying attention to whoever represents your state in the White House, stuff like that. I'm not going to lie. This is the whole reason why I started this in the first place. I don't have the words for what I'm trying to explain for right now, but I hope it makes sense, because I would hope most of us do know the basics of how government works just a little bit, especially when we see all these signs everywhere promoting, oh, vote for this, and then vote for that. Like, it's all over the place during election time. So I hope y'all are understanding what I'm saying. But it really just starts with you and your state. And then that's when you can start to understand everything else. And I know that politically things are not just intense, but intimidating. With all the information that you have to keep up with. And that's why I tried to, I stepped away from it for the most part, besides, keeping up with the basics. But also like, just pay attention to what you really have to pay attention to, whatever every other person is saying, all your little streamers you like to listen to. And I listen to streamers, like I have put my little YouTube video, see what's on the news, listen to somebody commentate on it, and social issues, stuff like that. I can do that, so whatever. But when I really want to know something, like I did my last stream, when I really want to know something, like I'll put time aside and be like, okay, let me actually like read a little bit about this, see if it's anything that, see if it's really anything that, that I should put pressure on, that I should post about, that I should bring awareness to, that I feel maybe isn't being talked about, when we are in school, there's more pressure for us to learn about government stuff. We all learned about it, U.S. history, government, all that stuff. We all learned about it, but there is a habit if you're not continuing college, of course. But you don't always have to continue college to have the knowledge, but this is just a reoccurring thing that I've noticed, not even just statistically, but just in everyday life, once we graduate high school and we're not going to college, we kind of not really just forget what we learned about government, but also don't really care to learn more or keep up with it if it's making sense. Like when we're younger, we don't really pay attention as close as we need to besides the basic issues. And I'm not saying being progressive when you're younger is a bad thing at all. It's just you follow who you trust when you're younger, or you feel you can trust, and you don't really start thinking for yourself. Me at 26, I'm not gonna lie, I haven't voted in these since I've turned 18, because I was intimidated, and also it was my life I kind of had to worry about that I was so focused on. But I want to push people, like, even when you are that young, to really think about it, because in the future, if you don't choose now, then the future could end up like this, or what's going on right now. So I think this presidency is going to be a wake-up call for a lot of people, and a lot of people will get left behind. Honestly speaking, a lot of people will get left behind. Yeah, no, politics are intimidating. I just want us younger and older to get back into things. There's a lot of older people into certain conspiracies that don't. It's so much that I probably will get to eventually. I should have stopped to get water because I got quite a bit in here, but I don't feel like it's enough for what Twitch really just be putting one viewer in here just to make you feel good. Just to make you feel good. It's okay though. I appreciate y'all. Shit, what was I saying, bro? Matter of fact, let me open it on my phone so I don't have to keep on going back on y'all. The loop is killing me. All right. So this morning, I try not to stay on the internet for too long, but in the morning, because the morning time is like you just trying to get to where you gotta go. This morning I just had to make a little bit of cash so I could make a little schedule payment for my credit card or whatever. And what else I had to put gas in my car. And I'm washing blankets today, and adult stuff, the boring stuff, taking out trash and things like that. What is that? Don't play with me. So oh my gosh. So yeah, I got my little breakfast sandwich, and I was sitting in the car and I was scrolling, and lo and behold, this is what I see. So this is this man's tweet. Basically, he's saying the biggest lie you were told in school was that the Ku Klux Klan lynched black people for no reason. Now, I think I already said at the beginning of the stream, this didn't have this community note when I saw it. Wow, my bad. It's my best friend's birthday today, so sorry for that gap. Not going to be streaming as long as I want to, but this is just my avenue of just downloading and posting on YouTube little short clips and like that. I want to get it to the people, and if I have to do it like this, I have to do it like this. I want to talk like this, I'm gonna do it like this. So yeah. So this nigga, and I don't want to be throwing an N-word around like that because, it makes some people uncomfortable, but I'm like, it is what it is. Anyways, so I don't even want to read this out loud because of how whatchamacallit. So he said the original KKK formed during Reconstruction as a response to widespread black criminality across the South. Newly freed blacks were raping and murdering white Southerners with impunity, and the northern carpetbaggers who controlled the South turned a blind eye to their crimes. Sound familiar? The KKK arose because white Southerners could not get justice through the legal system, so they had no choice but to... Let's pause for a second. Back then, I don't care how, this doesn't even take somebody knowing all the history to really, through the legal system. This doesn't even take a lot of history to put together for you to know, there's no way, even with them freeing slaves, would they not take an opportunity in the South? Whether y'all went to a war or not in the South, they would not take an opportunity to get niggas if it was like that. There's no way the courts would just be like, no. Are you serious? They just freed these people. They would do, anybody in that time period would do anything they messing up? Bet. Put them behind bars. Why are you sitting here trying to lie? Why are you trying to lie? That's the thing that blows me. talking about they had no choice but to take the law into their own hands. Note that when Reconstruction ended and Southerners retook control of their own states, the KKK disbanded because it was no longer necessary. Lies, 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 lies. I don't get these people, bruh. The KKK that formed in later decades had no connection to the post-Civil War KKK. The KKK of the 1920s, for example, formed in response to criminality from immigrants and had its strongest base of support in the Midwest, not the South. Canada even had its own knockoff KKK, blah, blah, blah. When justice is perverted in the name of settling racial scores, do not act surprised when the aggrieved decide to seek justice themselves. Now, this Carmelo Anthony thing with the kid, this is something I have to read about with the kid who stabbed the white boy in self-defense. The most that I've seen about this case that Matt Walsh was talking about, this said comments on the fundraiser are truly horrifying. They make it very clear that these people don't care whether he was a valid self-defense claim or not. They see Metcalf's murder as an act of racial vengeance. Now let's actually read these. I hope we help you raise 1 mil. These white people can die mad like their ancestors did. Whites have been obsessed with black people for years. It's 25. The hate is embedded into their DNA at this point. They don't know if they love us or hate us. Too bad we don't care. Now, okay, so people will feel the way they feel about this statement. And of course, I wouldn't say a statement like this. I just know where it comes from. I literally respond to a comment today of like, these aren't contradictory things. This isn't saying I agree with it. This is just saying I know where it comes from and I understand where it comes from. I wouldn't put my words like this. I wouldn't say it like this. I would use different words for sure. But it's just like they're not wrong in what they're trying to communicate. And I understand this because I am a part of the community that talks about these issues a lot. This situation with the Carmelo Anthony and the stabbing, I would have to read about to really get a grasp of really what it is. The fact that the father, though, of the boy that was killed was really like, y'all are against my wishes. Y'all are making this a racial issue. And it's not about that. Like, these are... The fact that he just lost a son and he's saying that speaks volumes to the type of character he is. And people call him pussy and all this other stuff. It's like, nah, bro, y'all not understanding it. Y'all are not understanding it. Whites have been obsessed with black people for years. And they're not wrong when they're saying like whites have been obsessed with black people for years. It's just so many different things that we get scrutinized for in the public eye and then the not so public eye, that it's like, no matter what we do, good or bad, we are talked about. Like, no matter what we do, no matter how we wear our hair, no matter how we talk, no matter how anything. So this statement itself is inflammatory, but I see where it comes from. We're the defenders of our lineage. This is America, and these flat whiteness immigrants from all over the world have always been open enemies towards foundational black Americans from day one. I don't even know what that has to do with anything. I really don't. I get what they said. Okay. I'm donating again after seeing the need for additional protection expenses. Now that I can understand, because people get real crazy with this type of thing, like real crazy. And I'm so glad to see him get released on bond. These crackers need to understand that we are not our ancestors and they will reap what they sow. I hope the knife made a full recovery. This last one, I am going to sit here and act like I'm not one of the gamer boys. I like edgy humor. Not gonna lie, but this situation is still very fresh. Still very fresh. It's just saying, like, I hope the knife made a full recovery is insane. Because as far as what I gathered from the case, they said the boys were kind of like harassing. I don't know. It was something inflammatory, something. It didn't just happen for no reason. I'll say it like this. I gathered that it didn't happen for no reason. Not saying anybody should be stabbed over seats, but like, if it's more than one, like 2 against 1, 3 against 1, somebody getting stabbed. But this is me not knowing, so I'm not even going to speak on that. I wanted to more so speak on what was quoted here. Like, And then the community note, of course, says the KKK used violence, intimidation, and terrorism against Black Americans in an effort to undermine their political and social rights. They viewed Black Americans as inferior and sought to maintain white supremacy via lynchings and arson. It's not hard to find that a lot of the lynchings were due to hearsay and just Black men even being near white women. Let's get that straight. Emmett Till, one of the prominent names when it comes to that type of situation, he got beat up. That wasn't even did he get lynched after that? I see his name so much. I just know how he looked when he died was messed up. Like, he didn't even look like himself. That's how terrible that was. But it's just that people are so bold to just put out misinformation. Like, people can't go see this themselves. And then this person comes off to me as one of those people that believes in those conspiracies, like, oh, we can't trust history. They don't say history how history actually is. And it's like, no, they don't say history how you want them to say it. You want them to sugarcoat it and try and make it seem like everything is all, like, I'm not going to sit here and try to act like I'm not emotional about this, because you're talking about a people that I'm a part of. I am a part of the human race, but as far as community goes, I am a part of Black people. And it's like, how dare you? I think, what line was this? Newly freed Blacks were raping and murdering white Southerners with impunity. And then he said it was as a response to widespread Black criminality across the South. Are you serious? You're saying slaves got released and the first thing they wanted to do was, okay, first of all, that was going to come off wrong, because if you were a slave for however long, then maybe you would come out and just start. That's what they wanted us to do. That's what they wanted our ancestors to do. They wanted them all to come out just raping and pillaging and doing all this stuff because of how they were treated. In their eyes, that makes sense to do. But they just wanted to be left alone. I want to get a job. I want to get a house. I want to have my family. Wives and husbands were separated, broken down. Families broken down, separated. Like, the first thing on some minds were probably violence. But whose mind wouldn't turn to that? Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, but this didn't happen on whatever widespread. It could have happened, but widespread, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't deny that it happened. Widespread is crazy though. People just wanted to be free. People just wanted to have a job. People just wanted to have their house, their own stuff. Nobody telling them what to do. Nobody whipping them. None of that. Like, they wanted to be basic human beings, bro. And to be told by someone that what we know to be history just isn't it. Usually for Black people, when we learn about our history after we're finished school, it's just things we didn't know about. It's not even that it's lies. It's just that it was watered down. That's all. But this is like a straight out lie, saying, oh, school is this. And then it's a whole thing with these white parents not trusting schools and taking their kids out of schools because they're learning about race and all this stuff. It's like, Germany, bruh, they will not let you forget about the Nazis, okay? We're not going back to that, but Germany has their own issues with their own right-wing situation right now. And I don't even think I want that to be one of the things that's in my repertoire. It's something to talk about. I don't think I'm in the lane to even be talking about in depth about that. But I just know that they're having their own issue right now. And Elon was also kind of a part of that, I believe. I think he had like a conference over there or something like that. Don't quote me though. Look it up. So they even have their own issues with anti-Semitism directly. Like, they're the direct culprits of that in history. Like, Hitler came from them over there. So, like, it's no different than our kids learning about our terrible history, because the whole reason that we get taught this history so it does not repeat again. And when little fruits of it start twinkling and falling into our current timeline or our current history, that's when it feels like we have a moral obligation to stop that. And while there are people trying to tell, like, hey, this is kind of like what's going on right now is kind of fascistic, like fascism. And everybody hates hearing that word, but it's like, what I like to do, I don't say, oh, they're Hitler. This person is Hitler. It's like, this stuff is a little fascist, bro. Like, this is the start of it all. When I started, it was one night I was just laying in the bed and I'm like, let me actually see how Hitler started. And even just reading, just even a little bit, I had just started reading. I'm like, oh snap, this is like a play-by-play. Because he didn't just start doing what he did to the Jewish just as soon as he came. Like as soon as he just popped out no, it took some time. He had to get his reputation up. It's like a video game. You have to get your reputation up and then you start, like there's so many little things that I feel like in school, when it came to learning about the Holocaust, we learn what happened, but we didn't learn, unless you were probably in like AP history or something. I don't know if they go deeper in that in more advanced classes, but we didn't learn. We knew he had a book, Mein Kampf, My Struggle. I found that out. I didn't know it was that. I forgot. That's what it was. I'm like, oh, he's such a freaking crybaby, bro. But we didn't really learn the before of him. But I can understand, like, in school, like, hey, just know that this happened. But if we don't know how it happened, besides, oh, we know that he had good speeches, but what made it good? And the fact that it's in German, it's kind of, for American kids, we're kind of lost on it. Like, okay, he sounds very pumped up, invigorated. We can hear the cadence of what charisma would bring people in, and then what they were going through economically during that time. Like, things were going up over there in Germany, Austria, all that, whatever. So with hard times comes, and just like currently right now, with the border stuff, and then Israel and Gaza, even though that's across the world, it's still like people are separating due to these issues. And with this campaign, people were just getting more and more separated. People were talking about the economy. People were talking about so many things that is wrong with America, immigration. They're trying to, when it came to the, was it Nigerians or Haitians? When it came to the Asians, talking about they're eating our cats and dogs, like, it was just so much turmoil that they tried. The transgender thing, like, so much turmoil that was separating people. And while things are issues, it wasn't as big as an issue as they made it seem in their campaign for Trump's campaign. Like, so that's just the what makes it similar to Hitler's time, because he wouldn't have been able to do that if he didn't feed off of these people's fear and their need for some sort of justice or something to be fixed. And then when you just blame it all on these people, and these people are going to be like, bet it's not me. I know it's not me. Get them. No, it's not them either. We can talk about how we can make things better and we can turn things around and maybe shift some things here and there, but it's not just a group of people. There is a group of people, but it's not just white. It's not just the black. It's not just the immigrant. It's not just the gay. It's not just the transgender. It's not none of that. And the fact that there are Christians that let this man lead y'all astray is insane to me, because you didn't read your book. I didn't even read the full book, and I fully grasped what it was supposed to be, because I read, like, what was it, like a preteen version of the Bible. But even that got his message across. Some things I don't even agree with. I see the Bible as, a book of lessons, a book of stories, and some truths. It's a good book to read for what it is, for what it was. But it's like, y'all let this man separate you from people that Jesus would have walked with, or Jesus would have stood up for. I don't like that. Jesus Christ is my, Jesus my mans. We go like this, like, we're so cool. Jesus and everybody else that walk with him, I don't know. I believe I got angels that be like talking to me and stuff. Sounds a little psychotic. We can get into that later. I know not everybody is not into that, and people would think that when you're into any spiritual religion that you kind of have some delusion with you, but it's cool though. You don't got to listen to what I got to say, but the thing remains, like, this, what's going on right now, this isn't what it's not supposed to be that. But like I said, maybe like 20 minutes ago, this presidency was meant to happen. Unfortunately, I am fully in belief that certain things are meant to happen for people to find their way, even if it's bad. I learned this just in my everyday when it comes to one thing in my day where I'm like, this is such an inconvenience. But then that inconvenience leads me to something else later in that day where I'm like, oh, if I didn't have this inconvenience, then I wouldn't have been here where I needed to be, type of thing. And that's what I feel like this presidency is about to be, opening people's eyes, getting people to step into what I'm doing right now. Like I said in my first stream, getting people to step into their political bag, or just even just doing what they can, what they know they're able to do. Because if you aren't able, I don't think anybody should be chastised for what they're not able to do, for someone being scared to do certain things. Because I did let fear stop me from sitting up here and talking. I don't care who's watching. I don't care if there's nobody watching. Someone's going to watch eventually once I post these long, or sometimes there'll be short videos, maybe 30 minutes of my stream. Sometimes there'll be longer ones. It really all depends on what I have time for, but I will make time. Even if it's not long, I will make time. But everyone's going to be learning whatever lesson they're going to need to learn during this time. And as much as a lot of us are not liking what's going to happen to our families and our country, it's necessary. Whatever is coming from this is necessary. And I've even had close family directly to me get affected by this. They were in the probationary period. They were working for the IRS. They were going to do, taxes, IRS. And they were in the probationary period. And when they did that clean sweep, they got fired from that. And they were going to start their American dream. They were going to start their life. They were going to get married, or ask their partner to marry them, and start saving for a house, little stuff like that. Like, you are killing everyone just to make a point from whatever you did on your campaign. Like, it's not cool. It's not cool, and it's just counterproductive. Not productive at all. So counterproductive, I can't even tell you how counterproductive it is. I went off on a tangent, but that's what streams are for, right? That's what streams are for, going off on tangents and talking about it. Bada bing bop. I'm sweating, y'all. Our AC is not working in here, but I can tell the weather getting hot. It's getting hot outside because it was cooler this morning. This little thing right here really did make me go off on a little tangent, because it's like, so at the bottom of this thing here, he started posting, "Black people are behaving very normally in my replies and not at all being irrational or violent." Now, this is what I will say. This is another thing that I think about. Everybody wants to be heard. And when you feel like you're not being heard, then things get heated. Again, this is not justification. This is just understanding how a lot of us work. So when you're not feeling like you're being heard, people go to insults or so when I think about white people and the white people that take part of these white supremacist tactics, or just full out just disregards history, or try to act like they don't know any better. Maybe they don't. Maybe they're not in the circles to know better. Our algorithms are catered to what we pay attention to and what we believe in. It is what it is. And it's hard to change the algorithm. Sometimes in your algorithm, you will see things that are not a part of your thought process, or not a part of your ideals, or, something different. Sometimes you will, sometimes, maybe. But it's up to you whether you engage with that. And once you start engaging with the different thing, then you'll see more of that different thing. And then slowly you may change. You may change, or you may not, whatever. So when it comes to white people that are on the right, they feel like they're not being heard. They're being overlooked. Same with the whole gender issue that's happening. People are feeling like they're not being heard. So they get aggressive with not being heard. And it's all the other person's fault that they're not being heard. And then the other people feel like they're also not being heard. And it's like, what works but doesn't always work is like, okay, say for example with white people, we want our country back, I hear what you're saying. What you are feeling, what you're saying in all that's not bad. You feeling this way about, your country is not bad. But how you're going about this is a thing that's been repeated forever. How you're going about it and how you decide to take this information and run with it is not the way to go. And then you'll say, who are you to tell them that is not the way to go? And to that I say, I'm not anyone. But just looking at history and how things have progressed, and also just knowing that nothing good comes out of isolating people or targeting people, because then the people that you love to go and target. So let's say Trump, for example. You voted for this man because you want him to get these people, right? So what happens when the people he got is one of yours? One of somebody in your family? Okay, say they're fathers, so you're like, I'm not worried about that. That's what they get. I'm sorry to your wife. I'm sorry to your husband, cousin, whatever. Sorry about that. But then when it came to the job situation, when people are getting cut, like from the IRS, things like that, then it starts to get close. And we seen the videos, people, I didn't even take time to even listen to these people talk about, oh, my job, or, oh, I run a small business, so these terrorists are going to fuck me over. I don't want to listen to that. I really don't. And it's not even that I don't feel sympathy, but it's like people try to tell you and try to get you to listen. But because you want something else so bad, like there's so many people that make political choices that shouldn't have. And the fact that I didn't vote because I felt that I wasn't good enough to, and that I was just upset for the smallest thing, like I'm still mad at myself that I didn't. But I know now that even if I did, it wouldn't have changed anything, because this campaign, this election season was so wrapped up in the craziest, it was something so, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say about right now, because I don't want to get lost in it. I'm not trying to get lost in talking about that right now. But it's, oh, jeez. Oh, it's so much. Like, it's so much. It's really so much. I don't even know how to explain how much it is. People need to look at their domino effects. People are so short-sighted when it comes to, oh, you want to do this? Boom, do it. I'm going to vote for you. Just do it. How are they going to do it? When? Who's it going to affect? How will this affect our economy? How will this affect our workforce? How will this affect our healthcare? How will this affect little things? People don't care about anyone. They want us to not care about each other. They want us to all think that everyone's freeloaders, that everyone's doing this, that everyone's doing stuff they're not supposed to be doing. They want people to think that everyone is out to get you. They want people to walk out their house in fear. They want people to look at everybody like they're an enemy. They want us to look at each other like we're enemies. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. When I clean houses, I clean a lot of white people's houses, and I work with white people. They ain't never did shit to me. I've only been working there like a month or two. They haven't done shit to me. And I see what type of books they have in their home. Books maybe I wouldn't read. Books that kind of leave me like, okay, what kind of principles and morals do you have? But they treat me all right, so it ain't none of my business. It's not my problem. I'm saying this just to say, I have all the knowledge in my head I could use to justify me giving off a, not aggressive energy, but a standoffish energy to these people. Just because of not just history, but because of what I analyze with what they have in their homes, or, little things like that. But I don't, because nothing can come from it. The change starts from people. I used this in one of my other videos. There was a transgender woman, that she had a neighbor that was very transphobic and would call her a he and all this other stuff. I think it was his son died or something like that. And she was one of the only people that was kind of like there or something like that. Like, she just gave him condolences, something like that. And I think maybe the next time they saw each other, he called her by her proper pronouns. It really just takes being exposed to people different than you. It's really all it takes. And a lot of people don't want to be the bigger person when they're part of a group that's being, like, a marginalized group that's being targeted, especially transgender people right now. Like, they've always been targeted, but it's been more rampant now. So especially a group like that, I understand you not wanting to be nice to people that don't like you, but they don't like you because of what they're being fed and them not being in the circles where people like you are. A lot of people are not in circles that are a bunch of different races, a bunch of different sexualities, a bunch of different genders. Okay? A lot of people are not in those circles willingly. And then say if they are at work with these people, they, because of what they see online and hear about them and hear them say at work or something like that, it's like, oh, I don't like you, I don't like that. It's, stop walking about life like that. Stop walking about life like everybody's trying to throw something in your face, like their sexuality and who they are. They're proud. That's them. It is what it is. I'm proud to be me. I'm proud to be black. I'm proud to be a woman. Being a woman sucks sometimes, and being black sucks sometimes. But other than that, I carry myself like they ain't got nothing to do with me. Ain't got nothing to do with me. So when I carry myself, I think about like, maybe they don't like women and black people, but as long as I'm minding my business, what can they say? What can they think? So how I think about it in the future. So it'll come a time where they'll take all these little instances of people different than them being nice to them or caring or, having a good conversation with them. And once they finally get out of that bubble of bigotry, they'll be like, damn, I remember this, and this. Why did I even stay here so long? It'll be so many things that will pile up where it's like, all right, bro, there's some issues that need to be talked about with these people, but it's like, it's not really all their fault type of thing. It's so many different ways we can take it. This is why I guess I like streaming. I went so many places I don't even feel bad about going all the places that I went. I know when I put this on YouTube, I'll try to put the little like title cards or something like that. What are they called again? Chapters. I'll try to put the chapters and title them so people know what I'm talking about and where I go back and forth. I'll try my best. Damn. So I think I went on that little tangent because in these replies is when he's talking about, oh yeah, because that's why I started talking about how everyone just want to be heard and all that. Yeah. So I didn't open this picture because I was trying to get my drive on and get my stuff together. So he really put all of these replies. Here we have KO, all white people, but of course that says KILL. Someone quoted it, just make sure that before you step out, you've made peace with your family, settled your affairs, set up in wills or trust, and pick out a burial site. Suit, these lies will not spare you or anybody that believes them. Just know that. That is a very emotional person. Blitz up here to the right. Damn, I need to turn my cursor thing on. These people are fucking sick and truly evil, will lie about anything with no shame or remorse, will do the absolute worst to other people in the world, then lie about it. Just a truly repugnant class of people that should not be allowed to exist. They have no integrity nor humanity. Another emotional quote, middle of the middle by Ghostface. Again, these are all from emotion. And then he put a screenshot to the bottom right here. White demographic decline is a decrease in the white populace numerically and or as a percentage of the total population in a city, state, subregion, or nation. It has been recorded in a number of countries and smaller jurisdictions. For example, according to national censuses, white Americans, white Canadians, white Latin Americans, and white Britons are in the demographic decline in the United States, Canada, Latin America, United Kingdom, respectively. White demographic decline can also be observed in other countries, including Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. It's Africa. What the hell? Germany, Spain, Italy, France, and Zimbabwe. I'm sorry. I'm definitely a part of people where, like, of course, it's a fucking decline in South Africa and Zimbabwe. Like, what are we talking about? Oh, I can highlight which one I'm cool. I don't even got to put my cursor on. I'm thinking, whatever. Him putting this here is like, okay, white decline. What about it? People are mixing. So they're not going to be categorized as white. And then there's some, like, what people would consider white that's not is categorized as white. Like, we're all meshing together. What could really save the world really is all of us mixing together. But black and white people alike do not want that. Black people, just like these white people, and I'm not going to say they're black supremacists, but there are some of them, they don't want us race mixing, and black people, just like white people, think, oh, they're trying to get rid of us. And it's like, y'all just put this on yourselves. Y'all just want to say this about yourselves. And they say, oh, the commercials are pushing mixed things, mixed that. Yeah, commercials are pushing it because it's like, not only is there a lot of like multiracial families now, it seems like, it's like also, let's move forward. Like, y'all are over here arguing, and like, it's a commercial. One. Two, it is nice to see more black love because of what our black people have been through historically when it comes to our families and just our romance in general. We've been through a lot historically when it comes to our love. So I understand wanting to see more black love. I completely understand that, because there is, just like white people, there's just certain things that you will understand with your own race that you can't understand or get jiggy with the other race. It's cool. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. But to say like people are a disgrace for race mixing and they're trying to just completely erase us, then they trying to erase white people too. So what are we doing? Like, once you make a mixed child, that's a mixed child. They're white and black, or they're Hispanic and Asian, or they're Hispanic and black. Like, I'm sorry. And depending on how they come out, I guess phonetically is what they choose, whatever that is, what it is. I'm not about to talk too much about that. More screenshots will be seen. Saying all of this without a single source provided should be grounds for getting knocked out. This is a violent thing to say, but it's like, this is Twitter, buddy. Like, these people can't come to you. You're talking about, oh, they're being violent. You're being violent by spreading misinformation. And then knowing that the people that follow you is going to listen to it and take it just as it is, because that's what they want to believe. This is dangerous rhetoric. Like, people say, oh, it's just history revisionism. That's bad. That's bad. I shouldn't have to explain why that's bad. Because next thing you know, it's like, y'all just want to cry. It just further feeds the whole ideal of like black people and any other colored person wants to cry about this, and that. And this didn't even happen to you. This wasn't even about that. Y'all people are just violent. So that's why that happened to you. Y'all ask for it for yourselves. And it's like, it's not supposed to be like that, bro. You're not supposed to do that. This one, I don't like that. You should kill yourself. You genuinely need to kill yourself. I'm not laughing at what it says. I'm laughing at this face, bruh. Like, why does he look so angry? Matt Forney looks like shit in red. If there were justice, he'd be murdered, probably. This guy and everyone liking this should be rounded up and executed. Yikes. And you know what's funny about this? One, this is Twitter. Two, people have said worse about, I'm sure he has probably even said worse about transgender people, or, matter of fact, let me click, transgender people or immigrants, or like little stuff like that. Like, people don't care about people. I'm Pope Francis in many crimes. He literally rewrote the catechism, the governing doctrine of Catholicism, because the Bible isn't good enough for them. What? To ban Catholics from supporting the death penalty. Yeah, I'm not sad about him going to hell. What are we talking about? And what many crimes did Pope Francis do? Okay, whatever. I hate the trend of flags being flown at half-staff over dead foreigners. Pope Francis was an anti-American Marxist pedophile. Wasn't he the one that was against, that called out the pedophilia in Catholicism? Am I fucking tripping? He should get a well, he's dead, that sad statement at the absolute most. No reason why Americans should be forced to honor this enemy of our nation. Are you serious? Anti-American. Anyone who has any criticism about America is just suddenly anti-American, bro. Like, I don't get that, bro. Yeah, I'm going to my notifications. Okay. Oop. Well, about to say, nothing the back button can't do. I hate the... Okay, yeah. The next pope is going to be a gay Filipino who is very loud and proud about being pro-gay. He will encourage even more mass immigration to the U.S. By the Catholic Church's network of NGOs. Can't wait for right-wing Catholics. What? What are we talking about? Very loud and proud about being... And I bet people won't even go and see what... if he really is about that. After Pope Francis mostly unpopular change. Oh my gosh. It's like Gay people exist, bro. I don't know what you want to do about that. Like, they exist, bro, and they're still in religion. I don't know what you want to do about that. Don't know what you can do about that. I don't like religion as a whole. I'm not gonna lie. That's why I don't. Like I said, I take from everybody. Who is that calling me? That number looks familiar. Shit. This is like making me like, man, like, it makes me want to look him up, but I don't feel like going into the Pope Francis shit right now. And the new one, so-called new one. I don't even know if that's true or not. Bada bing bop. What you talking about? Oh gosh, I don't even want to look more at this. Like, it's so many bleach, but okay. Black people have escalated to making threats against the owner of Twitter and senior. I don't care. You're a crybaby. I don't even. White girls really mean no when they say no. Like, come on, dog. Like, you're weird. You're weird, buddy. You're weird. Oh, look at that baby. Oh, look at that baby. I got Substack open. What did I say? See? Where'd he go? I just saw Pope Francis. What was that article about? Wait, what? What does that say? Trump voter begs Trump to end trade war on CNN. Interesting. How pink tariffs and other pink costs keep... Oh, they're talking about feminine products. Why Christians mix up Trump's words with the Bible. Rapists to exile Americans who commit rape like he did. Ain't no way, bruh. I'm going to heaven because I'm an atheist. The White Lotus. Okay. Schemas in the political brain. Schemas in the political brain. This is I think... Am I subscribed to them? Yes, I am. Okay, wait. Do I have to pay for this one? Because that would make me mad. Okay. I don't like reading things if I get stopped short. The neuroscience and psychology of why better facts don't make winning arguments in politics. Okay. I think I'm going to end off with this one. I think this is a good one to end off of. It seems like my streams are going to be no more than an hour, it seems like. Okay. The mysteries of memory. Let me get myself together. Let's take a little pause because I've already been talking a lot. I'm going to be talking a lot. This is something I have to get used to. I am a yapper and I'm used to yapping, but at the same time, it's still something to get used to because I'm taking my time. The people I'm around, they understand what I'm talking about, even when I'm not making sense, like how I sentence it. But we're on the same wavelength, so it's like, okay, nah, I get what you're saying, type of thing. So it's still something to get used to, just talking and stuff. But I love my friends. I love the people I keep around. Before we get started on reading this by, I want to say his name, Brian Klaas. Okay. Before we get started, I just want to say this year, this presidency, I'm going to just put it through the whole presidency. These couple of years, it's going to be important with who we choose to keep around us. The people we choose, our found families, is going to be very important. It's always important, but I think it's going to be especially important this year and the years coming. Community is going to be very important, has been important, but it needs to stay important. It needs to get more important than it is right now and stay important. We need each other. We all need each other because we're all getting hurt. No matter if we realize it or not, we're all getting hurt by these things. Keep your loved ones close. Don't let petty things keep you all separated, and really talk to each other and try to everyone wants to be heard. It seems like the constant theme is like, you want to be heard. You want to be heard, so get heard and listen. Try to listen. You will think you're right. You will think the way you went about something is right. You will think the way you went about something is right because of what they did to you. But it's like, to them, they don't see it as that. It's like, hey, bruh, I feel like you really disrespecting me because I only did this and this. It's different. Sometimes you got to meet people where they're at mentally sometimes when it comes to certain family members. When it comes to our parents, depending on what generation they're from, some things like my siblings had to tell me, because I'm the baby. My siblings had to tell me, bruh, our parents getting older, bruh. Just some things you just got to laugh it off or just be like, all right, bruh. Especially if your parent is a part of the conspiracies where they're not voting, they're just talking shit. They're not doing anything. So some things you just gotta let go, all right, bruh. And some things you can weasel in and be like, hey, mom, hey, dad, Come on, like, don't be like that. And sometimes there is a common ground with things and we can come together. But yeah, I had to get that out the way. So it's going to be very important to educate ourselves and listen to each other. And what I see going on in the political scape when it comes to like the political streamers is so stupid. Like, did I talk about this the other day? I think I did talk about this on my first stream. Like, the whole Ethan Klein and the content cop, what's his name? iDubbbz, Hassan, Asmongold, Destiny, all these white people. I'm not even trying to say it like that, but there's so many. I want everyone to get their shine. There's a Hispanic man I listen to politically. There's a black man I listen to more so socially. He talks about the gender issues more so because he has wife and kids, and he comes from a place of like, y'all are doing this all wrong. There's another black man I listen to politically as well. I can't quite get his name. But next stream, I do want to showcase these people. I definitely should get some videos together and just watch them and bring them to light, bring them to the forefront. Because from the very beginning of when I started even getting back into taking my content creation seriously, I said that I want to bring people with me, even if I'm a nobody. I want it to be shown that I've always tried to support those, even those above me, because when they get a bigger audience, we all get a bigger audience. You know, we can't be selfish with who gets a piece of the pie. And that's why I don't know if I'm fully against capitalism or just for you know, I feel like something can be mixed. If you see it, it can't just be either or. Something can be done. And I think we're so used to the old systems of things that we just don't think about what could be made anew. But yeah, I want everyone to shine, even if I'm not the one shining, even if, you know, when they get it, I get it, you know? But the people who get the limelight are the most, I'm not even going to call them undeserving, because they do what the hell? Anyways, they're able to do what they're able to do with their audience, and they're able to make certain progress that some people aren't able to make. The first I heard about Destiny was the whole N-word manifesto. And then when I started listening to him, I'm like, okay, he's just like an edgy gamer nigga. Like, he's just, how he says things is not always easily digestible for some people that are more sensitive. And I'm a sensitive person, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, I see where that's just where he come from. Like, it is what it is. He doesn't even say the N-word himself. So the whole N-word manifesto thing was hilarious. Because me, personally, how I see it, you're not my friend. I'm going to just get this out of the way. I don't really have as many white friends as I did like middle school, but I got white people that I'm cool with. Two guys. There's only two white guys that I used to work with that we're still cool with. I say we because me and my partner, we all I only hang out with them because he hangs out with them if he does. And one of them, he says nigga. And to a lot of people that's like, oh, that's racist or blah, blah, blah. It's certain people where it's like, you don't feel like, it doesn't, when he says it, it doesn't give me, and it's not even like he drops it like that. It doesn't give me a sense of like, I don't like him saying it. It's just like, nah, he really like, that's just him. Like, he don't do nothing. He don't do nothing to nobody. I'm not going to say his name, but he don't do nothing to nobody. But also at the same time, he's not my friend. I don't talk to him every day. I'm not about to press you about that. It's not that serious for me. I'm not going to lie. It really all depends on who you are when you say it. Okay, if you a person that I'm like, you really not about that. You're not with any cause. You're not with anybody. You don't appreciate anything about our culture. You're not even none of that. Like, and then on top of that, I don't know you. Yeah, don't talk to me, bruh. But if I know you, it's like, I'm not about to defend you either if we're around people that aren't comfortable with it. I'm not about to defend you. Because if they're not comfortable, they're not comfortable. Because how I operate, if you're going to be friends with me, like a girl, say that somewhere else. Don't say that around me. At my job right now, they said it around my best friend, one of the white girls, but they have yet to say it around me. And I don't know if I carry energy where it's like, you cool, but don't say none of that around me. I'm good off that. I don't know if I just got that energy, but I don't take it to the point where I'm just online, just blah, 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 crying all day. It is what it is. It just is what it is. That's all. It just is what it is. But that was I went on that tangent because that's pretty much where I felt that Destiny's whole view of it is. it's just like, I don't say it, but like, it is what it is. Like, especially when you come from a gaming culture, I don't like how the gaming niggas be talking to each other and how like vulgar and crazy it can get, especially when women do games. But it's been like that for years, like the edginess of it. But he said he don't say it. I haven't seen him actually like anybody out him for saying it. So that whole thing, when I started listening to him, I'm like, okay, I see why everybody was dogpiling on him, because he really he don't care. And even if I don't fully like somebody, I can always take parts of them where I'm like, I get that. And I applaud that. Like, if you're going to do it, stand in it type of thing. But that's just that. Yeah, I don't shy away from, sometimes I cringe. Sometimes it's some people, like, I will put a video and watch later and I'm like, I really don't feel like listening to this person just talk shit about this one thing that I feel deeply about. But sometimes you just got to do it. And really, and it brings you to a place where you kind of look at, okay, my views around it is this, whatever critique they had about this thing I'm passionate about, is this critique not even justifiable, but valid? Is this critique valid? Now, of course, when you're asking if the critique is valid for the thing you're passionate about, you have to be honest with yourself, because of course, if you're passionate about it, you'll be like, that's not valid. None of this is valid. But there are some things that are going to be valid. It just is what it is. This person could say 90% just bullshit, but then it'll be that one thing where it's like, oh, you got like a little bit of sense, like you got something there, but everything else was shit. So whatever. I don't really run into those most of the time. Usually I run into the 50-50s where it's like 50% bullshit, 50%. Okay, you're getting, it's one of those cases where like you're starting from a good place, but where you're landing at is kind of shaky. But I don't run into those people a lot. But like I said, when I do, yeah, I really do have to gear myself up for it and be mature about it. It's a work in progress. We're all a work in progress. So whatever. So now I'm going to actually get us all out of the way, and I am going to read this. This is a long article, so we're going to be here for a minute because I may stop and, talk like girls like to do. They like to talk. These shorts, I'm about to take my bottoms off. Y'all got me so messed up. The mysteries of memory. All right, just to get back to where we were, schemas in the political brain, the neuroscience and psychology of why better facts don't make winning arguments in politics. And I think he is a associate professor of global politics at University College London, contributing writer for The Atlantic. Okay. Cool. 26, number 26, rising in world politics. I like that for him. All right. Mysteries of memory. Before you keep reading, try this experiment. Take a blank piece of paper in as much detail as possible. Draw a $5 bill or €5 note purely from memory. Okay. If you do, you'll be astonished to realize how rudimentary and wrong your drawing turns out to be. These are objects that we've seen thousands of times in our lifetimes. We instantly recognize them. We have a clear sense of what they're supposed to look like. But when it comes to retreating them in granular detail, most of us are utterly useless. Our memory can recognize but not always reproduce. Our cognitive processing and our memories don't work the way we think they do. We tend to imagine there's some sort of file drawer within our heads in which all sorts of information goes in, gets stored in pristine form, and then we pull it out when we need it, but that's not true. Instead, we often process information using schemas, a key concept within psychology, neuroscience, and cognition. Understanding how they work is crucial for making sense of modern politics. The political brain is a brain defined by schemas. Political movements that understand that fact will usually beat those that don't. Republicans have battered Democrats on messaging in recent years because they intuitively understand schemas in a way that Democrats often don't. In the second Trump term, that's becoming even more obvious as Democrats continue to flail to find a winning message that resonates with voters, even as Trump's disastrous start has given them a wide opening. And to get this out the way, when I register to vote, is that what I'm saying? When I register for my political, I want to put it as independent. Not that I feel, I'm not even gonna lie, not that I feel like I'll ever vote different than Democrat. It really all depends. It really depends. But just to like, I don't like assigning myself to nobody. Just to get that out the way. I don't like doing that. I don't. That's why I don't even pick a really. I just call it spirituality. As much as I even hate calling it that because people use it and bastardize it, it's what I can choose, you know? All right, so what is a schema? The word schema comes from the Greek schemat or schema, which means form. But the concept in its modern usage refers to patterns of thought that provide intellectual shortcuts for processing the information we encounter in our lives. I am trying my best for y'all not to like read completely fast because I will do that and then y'all will get lost in the sauce. Think of it a bit like your brain's organizational system, which structures our knowledge, old and new. To organize vast quantities of data, we need to sort everything into categories and patterns with simplified assumptions. The whole world we experience is, in a sense, a giant set of data. When you go for a walk, the amount of data your brain encounters is overwhelming. The shade of color on every leaf, the patterns of cracks on the sidewalk, the faces of every person you encounter, what they're wearing, and whether they smiled at you as you went past. It would be impossible for your brain to process and retain all that information, particularly because most of it provides little value to you. You don't need to recall in vivid detail whether a random woman you once walked past was wearing a hat or not. As a result, the brain does a bit of intellectual triage, where most of the information we process about the world is culled and discarded. It's a highly efficient way of dealing with and navigating an immeasurably complex world. Our brains have evolved to process information this way because it helps us survive, able to remain what matters and forget what doesn't. However, some information is important and it needs to be retained differently in a format that could be useful to us later on. So rather than remembering exactly what every office we have ever set foot in looks like, we develop a conceptual representation of what an office looks like. Then, when we remember an office, we fill in the gaps. So even if we go into an office without a stapler on the desk, we often remember that a stapler was there later on because that fits with our schema for an office. Bada bing ba. Psychology and neuroscience experiments have shown something even more astonishing. The schemas in our heads actually alter how we perceive the world. We tend to pay attention more to that which matches our schemas most. And when reality doesn't conform to our schemas, we sometimes just reshape reality so it matches better. Yeah, okay. This was demonstrated by the British psychologist Frederick Bartlett in 1932 in a series of experiments which showed that people transform reality in their memories to match their worldviews and schemas. This kind of goes into what I was talking about earlier when it comes to, okay, let me highlight it. In a series of experiments which showed that people transform reality in their memories to match their worldviews and schemas. Okay, let me actually finish this. When people were told a story that was alien to their culture, such as Native American folktale, and then were asked to recall the story later, participants changed the story so that it made more sense within their cultural framework. Their memory effectively edited the story subconsciously to fit their schema. This is what I mean when I was talking about how when people are exposed to others different than them, their worldview starts to change because they realize, okay, these people aren't so bad, type of thing. Memory is closer to imagination than we think, recreating what fits rather than perfectly recalling what happened. This matters for politics because it means that people have an easier time processing and retaining information that matches their worldview, that they will pay more attention to stories that affirm their mental frameworks for understanding the world, and they will even rewrite reality to match these schemas operating in their heads. A politician can behave flawlessly, but if our schema has already typecast them as an incompetent or malicious imbecile, then no fresh facts will dig them out of that hole. Bada bing bop. All right, part 3, the political brain. Those who are professionally employed in politics are extremely weird relative to the rest of the population. They live and breathe politics, whereas the overwhelming majority of people rarely think about politics beyond the news headlines. Exactly. And I want that to change. I understand that people work and they have kids, and the same thing of how I was in the beginning when I was younger. I'm trying to focus on getting where I need to be and making a life for myself. But making a life for myself does entail politics, because I can't make a life for myself if politically they're fucking shit up. While political junkies might be able to rattle off an endless array of statistics and understand the minutiae of policy, very few people devote that level of intellectual bandwidth to politics. That means that most people process political information using a lot more cognitive shorthands, making schemas exceptionally important. Effective politicians can imbue a constellation of facts with a new meaning, providing voters with a fresh cognitive shortcut to make sense of the political world. Donald Trump is not, as he's claimed, a stable genius, but he is extremely skilled at defining his opponents in ways that stick. In effect, he's providing voters with a new schema with which to understand the political landscape. In the 2016 primary, for example, Trump took several opponents who had decent name recognition in the general population and redefined them in an instant. What's less cognitively demanding, reading about Jeb Bush's policy platform in granular detail or dismissing him because he's low energy Jeb. The same held true for little Marco Rubio and Lion Ted Cruz. I didn't even know about one of those names. I didn't know about Little Marco or Lion. I didn't know about Lion Ted Cruz at all. For many GOP voters, these labels crowded out information about the various candidates, but it wasn't just that they began to see Trump's rivals through the prism of these simplified insults, but that they actually paid more attention to aspects of their candidacies that were tied to the insult. Wow. Marco Rubio's height and shoes became salient aspects of the campaign because voters with their new schema for how they perceived him paid more attention to those previously ignored features. Wow. Trump's insults provided voters with a new framework for processing information, but it also affected which information they paid attention to in the first place. Little Marco is, fittingly, now Trump's lackey. Wow. Okay. What Trump did was devastating even to candidates who were well known among political activists. But schemas can be much more fluid during first impressions when there is no existing intellectual scaffolding to dismantle or rearrange. When someone is a blank slate, fresh schemas can destroy political careers in a matter of minutes. Take former British Prime Minister Liz Truss. She ruled Britain for 49 days, failing to outlast a lettuce. What? The lettuce gag may have seemed like a silly sideshow, but when I saw it, I knew Liz Truss was toast. She had become defined by a punchline. Every piece of new information in the news was filtered through a schema that was shared across the British political divide. Liz Truss is an incompetent screw-up who crashed. The economy is likely to expire before a comically bespectacled bit of produce. What did they got going on in Britain, bruh? Damn. Alright, bruh. After that, it didn't really matter what Truss did. Everything she did would be analyzed in exacting detail, with everyone looking for snippets of information that confirmed that she was an incompetent screw-up. She'd been defined within a framework that was devastating. Reversing a political schema, particularly after it's set, is extremely difficult. As a result, Truss is now doomed to be a trivia question, the shortest serving prime minister in British political history. The previous record holder had the rather good excuse of dying in office. Conversely, Boris Johnson had carefully cultivated the schema that he was a lovable, smirking rogue buffoon. It's often said that he deliberately tousled his hair before appearing on camera to reinforce that image. Why was it that so many scandals that would have destroyed others didn't destroy Boris? Because each scandal fit into the schema neatly, leading voters to shrug, shake their heads, and say with a smile, well, there goes Boris being Boris again. That intellectual shortcut, which he served to Britons on a silver platter, doubled as his political armor. Part 4. The hidden brilliance of gas stove politics. I gotta breathe. Got a moment to breathe. Because schemas provide intellectual shortcuts, political schemas tend to be defined by a big picture view of who people are and how things work. Republicans have spent a lot of time and money in portraying Democrats as out-of-touch socialist elites who think the solution to every problem is government intervention. It's politically useful to the GOP because new policy proposals sometimes neatly fit into that schema, and it sticks. This is why the GOP has made gas stoves a rallying call, alongside high-powered showerheads in recent weeks. To many ordinary people, banning or regulating something that's part of daily life was seen as a wacky policy proposal from Democrats that would affect their daily existence in ways that fit like a glove in the schema that Republicans have cultivated for decades. It doesn't matter what the health data show. It doesn't matter that Joe Biden explicitly disavowed the idea of outright banning gas stoves. It will still be a part of the mental map that voters ascribe to Democrats for years to come because it's so perfectly aligned with that government overreach schema. Wow. This is from the White House. President Donald Trump makes America's showers great again. Wow. An actual screenshot explaining Trump's recent shower executive order. This The same was true for defund the police. For purely strategic reasons, it doesn't matter what the actual policy proposals were or whether they had merit. Defund the police was a tagline that fit perfectly into a mental slot for understanding the Democrats, which Republicans had deliberately chiseled out over the years. This is why schemas are so crucial to understand. Democrats can repeat over and over that Joe Biden proposed $35 billion in funding for law enforcement and worked to recruit 100,000 new police officers. Still, the average voter is more likely to associate Democrats with defund the police than drastically expand police funding. The lesson is this: to win in politics, it doesn't matter what's true. It matters what mental framework voters use to assess political options before them. On that front, Republicans are often significantly better at ignoring the policy details and focusing instead on shaping schemas within which voters perceive the world. Too many people in politics wrongly think you'll win the argument if you have better facts, but winning the argument in politics isn't often about finding more or better facts. It's about perception and the cognitive shortcuts we use to process information as we sort our world into neat categories that make sense. Perhaps the best example of a politician misunderstanding this basic fact about how politics works comes from Mike Dukakis, the Democratic nominee in the 1988 presidential election. Is she moving that? Damn. In his book, The Political Brain, Drew Reston highlights this opening exchange from the 1988 presidential debate. Bernard Shaw: Governor, if Kitty Dukakis were raped and murdered, would you favor an irrevocable death penalty for the killer? No, I don't, Bernard, and I think you know that I've opposed the death penalty during all of my life. I don't see any evidence that it's a deterrent, and I think there are better and more effective ways to deal with violent crime. As Weston writes, on the face of it, Shaw asked the governor a direct question, and Dukakis gave him a direct answer, but he answered the wrong question. The question was not the pragmatic, utilitarian one Dukakis heard. Is the death penalty a useful deterrent? Dukakis answered in the language of rational utility. I don't see any evidence that it is a deterrent, and I think there are better and more effective ways to deal with violent crime. But what the average listener heard was his answer to three very different questions. Are you a man? Do you have a heart? And are we similar enough that I could trust you to represent me and my values as president? For most Americans, the answer to all three questions was no. Damn. Dukakis lost the election in those 30 seconds. No matter what he did after that moment, the schema for understanding him had shifted. Dukakis was an unfeeling, robotic policy wonk who would respond to the horrific prospect of his wife being raped and murdered, not with a weapon, but with statistics. Girl, the history you learn just from, like, this is... that question, first of all. That question was wild, and I know why, like, they asked it, but it was still, like, very much, damn, nigga, like, all right. Okay. Dukakis was an unfeeling, robotic policy wonk who would respond to the horrific prospect of his wife being raped and murdered, not with a weapon, but with statistics. The moderator's question was totally out of line, but it didn't matter. Dukakis was finished. The Republicans twisted the knife with the now infamous Willie Horton ad, which solidified the schema that most voters used to understand Dukakis. His huge lead in the polls collapsed. He lost in a landslide, beaten by people who understood schemas better than he did, no matter how many policy briefs he read. 5. How to use schemas. The lesson, then, is not that fact-based arguments are meaningless in politics, but rather that facts are most effective when they're nestled within a ready-made intellectual framework for how to make sense of the world. Effective political movements use facts to reinforce schemas, but they understand that the schemas are what matter most. It's a depressing truth, but getting the right taglines, slogans, and vivid ways of presenting political opponents is often far more important than being right. So, if Democrats want to loosen Trump's grip on the modern GOP, then the messaging needs to match the audience while recognizing the schemas that Trump's voters are using to process reality. Democrats can and should shout from the rooftops about how Trump is a racist authoritarian felon who poses an existential threat to American democracy. Facts that are certainly worth repeating because those schemas do cut through a persuadable voters in the middle. But no matter how loudly those arguments are repeated, voters in the GOP base use schemas that simply don't have a place for those facts. They'll ignore them, dismiss them, contort themselves with brain gymnastics until they end up in a position where they remain comfortable within their existing cognitive framework. If you really want to destroy someone in politics, don't attack them with a barrage of facts and decimal points. Change the fundamental way that their own supporters perceive them. The path to political victory runs to an astonishing degree through psychology and neuroscience, the way true power lies. That was a good one, Buckaroo. I fuck with that one. We can call that a stream. I I really like this one. I really like this one. This one was solid. This one was solid. If you are a person that rather see my, okay, she's driving now. This is perfect timing. See, I'm always on time. I'm always synced up with the timeline. I'm telling you. Always perfect. So we're always matching. We're always perfect. That's my sister. Anyways, if you're the type of person that like pop in on stream and just wanna, you don't have time. I like to listen to things while I work. So Faux Intellectual is the YouTube channel for you to watch my streams. I'm actually not going to be posting them until maybe my third stream. Edit them, just cut out the gaps or whatever. I may not find every gap, but I'll figure it out. So yeah, I hope whatever I said this stream resonated with anyone. Whenever you see it, whether it's years from now or in this month, which is the month of April. I do like to talk about social issues, so the social issues I'll definitely get to eventually. But the political stuff right now, I feel like we need to talk about, especially as people that are stepping freshly into adulthood. I don't care if you think 26 has been in adulthood. It's just certain ages where things just don't click sometimes. Or it's just when things happen is when they start to click. And I think everybody needs to start clicking right now. Because like I said at the beginning of this, me and my best friend, we felt that she does art. So she felt that through her art is how she's going to speak, which that's just how it happens. That's how it's happened all throughout history. But she's an artist, so that's how she's going to do it. Me, I'm a writer. I speak and I like to write things. I'm not going to say I'm not confident in my writing, but I want to be better for what my standards are. But I'm still write. I don't care. That's how you get better. If you just stop writing until you get better, then you're not getting better. Like, you have to learn and you have to do it. But I also want to speak. I like being a speaker. I like talking. I like yapping. So this is what I've decided to do and how I want to do things. So yeah. Thank you to whoever was listening or whoever will be listening. Have a blessed morning, noon, or night. Stay real. I think that's all I gotta say. Stay real.